Welcome to the session on frames of reference, part 1. Frames of reference. A body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its surroundings. A body is said to be in motion if it changes its position with respect to its surroundings. To study the state of rest or motion of a particle, first we should specify its position. The position of a particle is given with the help of a system of three mutually perpendicular axes OX, OY and OZ with O as origin. Such a coordinate system is called rectangular Cartesian coordinate system, named after René Descartes, a French philosopher who designed it. If the point P is in space, we need three coordinates x, y and z to specify its position. If it is in any one of the three planes, two coordinates are required to specify its position. If the point P lies on any one of the axes, only one coordinate is sufficient. If a particle moves in space, we need three coordinates to specify its position. This coordinate system can also be called as a frame of reference. Anything which occurs instantaneously or suddenly at a point in space, it is called an event. This means an event has a position to show where it occurs and has a time to show when it occurred. Suppose we want to describe the motion of a body, say a car moving on a road, as a function of time. The position of a body can be expressed only with respect to some other fixed point. All motions are described with respect to some reference body or system. The system is called a frame of reference. The simplest frame of reference is the Cartesian coordinate system, in which the position of a particle in space is specified by the three coordinate axes x, y and z along three mutually perpendicular axes. A frame of reference is a system of coordinate axes which defines the position of a particle or event in space. To specify the exact location and time of occurrence of an event, we need three spatial coordinates x, y and z and a fourth coordinate t, the time. A reference frame with four coordinates x, y, z and t is called a space-time frame. The four axes defines four-dimensional continuum called the space-time. Inertial frame of reference. Newton's first law helps us to understand the term inertia, and second law helps us to define force. Law of inertia states that unless an external net force acts in a body, the body either remains at rest or continues in its state of uniform motion along a straight line. A frame of reference in which Newton's first law holds good is called inertial frame. It is also called Galilean frame of reference because it was Galileo who first formulated the law of inertia. Inertial frames are non-accelerating frames. All frames of reference moving with a constant velocity with respect to an inertial frame are also inertial frames of reference. Fixed states are examples of inertial frame of reference. It is assumed that the stars do not move with respect to space. Earth can be approximately taken as an inertial frame for measurement taken on its surface. But for describing planetary motion, a frame at rest with respect to Sun is taken as inertial frame. The Earth cannot be taken as an inertial frame for this purpose because its motion is an accelerated one due to spin and rotation around the Sun. Proof. In figure 2, S is an inertial frame of reference and S dash is another frame which moves along a straight line with a constant velocity v with respect to S. To begin with, at time t is equal to 0, let us assume that their origins coincide. After a time t, the frame S dash reaches the position O dash. The distance travelled by the frame S dash in time t is O dash. Consider a particle at P. The position vector of this particle at any instant t is vector OP is equal to vector O dash plus vector O dash P. That is, vector R is equal to vector Vt plus vector R dash. That is, vector R dash is equal to vector R minus vector Vt. Differentiating twice, d by dt of vector R dash is equal to d by dt of vector R minus vector V. D square by dt square of vector R dash is equal to d square by dt square of vector R minus 0, because vector V is a constant. That is, vector A dash is equal to vector A. This means the particle has the same acceleration in the frames S and S dash. If the particle is at rest in the frame S, then it is at rest in the frame S dash also, or we can say if S is an inertial frame, then S dash is also an inertial frame. Non-inertial frames. The frames of reference in which Newton's first and second laws do not hold good are called non-inertial frames of reference. All the accelerated and rotating frames are examples of non-inertial frames of references. In an accelerated frame, even if no external force acts on a particle, it will appear that a force is acting on it. Such a force, which does not really act on a particle but appears due to the acceleration of the frame of reference, is called pseudo or false force or fiction's force. Consider a particle of mass m at rest inside a lift, which is descending with acceleration equal to g. The fiction's force acting on the particle is minus mg. Coordinate transformation within a reference frame. The transformation from one coordinate system to another is called a coordinate transformation. The equations connecting the coordinates of a point in the two frames of reference are called transformation equations. If an equation preserves the same form under a transformation, it is said to be invariant under that transformation. But if two quantities change according to the same law, then they are called covariant to each other, and the equation is said to be covariant. Independence from the choice of origin of coordinate system shows the homogeneity of space, and indifference to the direction of axis tells us that the space is isotropic. The dynamic variables like velocity, momentum, etc., except position coordinates, are independent of the origin of coordinate system, because they are related to the change of position vectors. For example, velocity vector v is equal to d by dt of vector r, which is equal to limit as t2 tends to t1 vector r2 of t2 minus vector r1 of t2 all divided by t2 minus t1. The velocity is invariant under the change of origin. The condition for homogeneity of space will be satisfied only if the equation for force vector F involve only change in vector v. For example, the gravitation force of attraction between two particles is vector F21 is equal to g into m1 m2 divided by modulus of vector r2 minus vector r1 cube into vector r2 minus vector r1. But the position vector is not invariant as shown in figure 3. The position vectors of the same point P with respect to the origin O and O dash are related by the equation vector r dash is equal to vector r minus vector s. If under the rotation of coordinate axis a quantity remains unchanged, then that is called a scalar inertial mass, and distance between two points are examples. Suppose the axis OXYZ is rotated to this axis OX dash Y dash Z dash. Then the distance between two points 1 and 2 is R12 is equal to x1 minus x2 the whole square plus y1 minus y2 the whole square plus z1 minus z2 the whole square the all raised to 1 by 2, which is equal to x1 dash minus x2 dash the whole square plus y1 dash minus y2 dash the whole square plus z1 dash minus z2 dash the whole square the whole raised to 1 by 2. R12 does not depend on the orientation of the axis and hence is a scalar. Newtonian mechanics and principle of relativity. Newton's laws of motion are as follows. First one, every body continues its state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line unless it is compelled to change that state by an external impressed force. Second one, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the impressed force and takes place in the direction of the force. Third one, action and reaction are equal and opposite. Newton's laws are applicable for big bodies moving with speeds much less than the speed of light c. And so, as Newton wrote in the Principia, instead of absolute places and motions, we use relative ones. In classical physics, the acceleration of a particle is the same in all reference frames, which move relative to one another with a constant velocity, that is a dash is equal to a. Mass is also unaffected by the motion of reference frame. Thus, the product ma is equal to f will be the same for all inertial observers, that is f dash is equal to f. Hence, Newton's laws of motion and the equation of motion of a particle would be exactly the same in all inertial frames, or we can say that the laws of mechanics are the same in all inertial frames. Absolute motion can never be detected. Translatory motion can never be observed only in the form of motion relative to other material bodies. This means different inertial observers will measure different velocities for the same particle. So, the momenta and kinetic energy will also be different, but the laws of mechanics will be same in all inertial systems. This is Newtonian relativity, and this principle exists for mechanics only but not for electrodynamics. We cannot apply this principle to the velocity of light, because then different inertial observers will measure the velocity of light differentially. Thus, Newtonian relativity cannot be applied to electrodynamics. Let us consider an example. An observer travels along positive x-axis with a velocity v. Suppose he observes two particles moving with velocities 0.7 c, one towards positive x-axis and the other towards negative x-axis. Their velocity with respect to the observer will be 0.7 c plus v and 0.7 c minus v. Suppose v is equal to 0.6 c. Then the observed velocity of the two particles will be 0.7 c plus 0.6 c is equal to 1.3 c. But no particle can travel with a velocity greater than c. So, Newton's relativity principle cannot be applied to this situation. Thus, Newtonian relativity principle fails when applied to high speed particles. In Newtonian mechanics, there is no limit in principle to the speed attainable by a particle as given by the equation for kinetic energy k is equal to half mv square. For example, if the energy of a 10 micro electrovolt electron is increased to 4 times, then according to Newtonian relativity, the speed shall be doubled to 1.9976 c. But we have never observed such a speed. This means Newtonian relativity fails to very high speeds. Galilean transformations. Consider an inertial frame S at rest and another one S dash which moves with a constant velocity v with respect to S along the positive x axis. It is assumed that v is very lesser than c. At time t is equal to 0, the origins O and O dash of the two frames coincide. Let an event occur at the point P. The observer O in the frame S measures the space coordinates of P as x, y, z and the time coordinates as t. The observer O dash in the frame S dash measures the space coordinate of P as x dash, y dash, z dash and the time coordinate as t dash. The relations connecting two set of coordinates of the event at P are called Galilean coordinate transformations. During an interval t, this frame travels a distance Vt along the x axis. So, x dash is equal to x minus Vt. Since there is no motion along y and z axis, y dash is equal to y and z dash is equal to z. Since time is independent of any reference frame, t dash is equal to t. Hence, the Galilean transformation equations are x dash is equal to x minus Vt, y dash is equal to y, z dash is equal to z, t dash is equal to t. Let it be numbered as 1. The inverse transformation equations are obtained by changing primed or dashed into unprimed quantities and replacing v by minus v and vice versa. X is equal to x dash plus Vt, y is equal to y dash, z is equal to z dash, t is equal to t dash. From equation 1, we can find that the time interval between two events 1 and 2 is invariant. That is, t2 dash minus t1 dash is equal to t2 minus t1. The spatial interval is also invariant. That is, x2 dash minus x1 dash is equal to x2 minus x1 minus v into t2 minus t1. If x1 and x2 are measured at the same instant, then t2 is equal to t1 and x2 dash minus x1 dash is equal to x2 minus x1. This time interval and space interval are the same for all inertial frames and is independent of their relative velocity. Mass of a body also does not vary with observer's velocity. So, we say length, time and mass are independent of the relative motion of the observer. Transformation of velocity. Differentiating equation 1 with respect to t, we get d by dt of x dash is equal to d by dt of x minus v. Since t dash is equal to t, d by dt of x dash is equal to d by dt dash of x dash. Hence, d by dt dash of x dash is equal to d by dt of x minus v. Let d by dt dash of x dash is equal to ux dash and d by dt of x is equal to ux, where ux is the x component of velocity as measured in the frame S and ux dash that measured in the frame S dash. Then ux dash is equal to ux minus v. D by dt dash of y dash is equal to d by dt of y. D by dt dash of z dash is equal to d by dt of z. Thus, the velocity transformation equations are ux dash is equal to ux minus v, uy dash is equal to uy, uz dash is equal to uz. Let it be numbered as 2. These three equations can be written in the vector form as vector u dash is equal to vector u minus vector v. Transformations of acceleration. Differentiating equation 2 with respect to t, we get d by dt dash of ux dash is equal to d by dt of ux, which is equal to 0 because u is a constant and t dash is equal to t. D by dt dash of uy dash is equal to d by dt of uy. D by dt dash of uz dash is equal to d by dt of uz. D by dt of ux is equal to ax is the acceleration measured by the observer in S frame and d by dt dash of ux dash is equal to ax dash, that is in S dash frame. Ax dash is equal to ax, ay dash is equal to ay, az dash is equal to az. Let it be numbered as 3. This can be collectively written in vector form. Vector a dash is equal to vector a. Equation 3 tells that there is no change in the value of acceleration in the two frames. So, we say that acceleration is invariant under Galilean transformation. Thus, acceleration of a particle is unaffected by the uniform relative velocity of the reference frame. Thus, for velocity, vector u dash is equal to vector u minus vector v. Let it be equation number 4. And for acceleration, vector a dash is equal to vector a. Let it be equation number 5. Since mass m is a constant, the product m into a will also have the same value for all inertial observers. That is, f is equal to m into a and f dash is equal to m into a dash, or f dash is equal to f. Hence, the equations of motion are invariant under Galilean transformations. That is, the equations of motion preserve their forms under transformation from one inertial frame to another. But if the force depends on absolute positions and velocities, the equations of motion will no longer be invariant under Galilean transformation. Newtonian mechanics fails at high speeds. Then Galilean transformations are replaced by Lorentz transformations. Transformation equations for inertial frames inclined to each other with origins coinciding. Let the components of the position vector in the frame O x1, x2, x3 be x1, x2 and x3. The corresponding coordinates in the related frame of reference O x1 dash, x2 dash, x3 dash be x1 dash, x2 dash and x3 dash respectively. According to the transformation law, x1 dash is equal to a11 x1 plus a12 x2 plus a13 x3, x2 dash is equal to a21 x1 plus a22 x2 plus a23 x3, x3 dash is equal to a31 x1 plus a32 x2 plus a33 x3. Let it be numbered as 1, where a11 is equal to cos O x1 dash comma O x1, which is equal to I1 cap dash dot I1 cap. a12 is equal to cos O x1 dash comma O x2, which is equal to I1 cap dash dot I2 cap. Let it be numbered as 2, and so on. The 3 by 3 array of direction cosines a j k, where j comma k is equal to 1, 2, 3 is called the rotation matrix A. That is, A is equal to the matrix a11, a12, a13, a21, a22, a23, a31, a32, a33. Let it be numbered as 3. Differentiating equation 1 twice with respect to time, we get d square by dt1 square of x1 dash is equal to a11 d square by dt square of x1 plus a12 d square by dt square of x2 plus a13 d square by dt square of x3. But S is an inertial frame, so there is no force acting on the particle at P. That is, d square by dt square of x1 is equal to d square by dt square of x2 is equal to d square by dt square of x3 is equal to 0, and so d square by dt square of x1 dash is equal to 0. Similarly, we can show that d square by dt square of x2 dash is equal to 0 and d square by dt square of x3 dash is equal to 0. This S dash is also an inertial frame. The transformations between the frame S and S dash are given by equation 1. This inverse transformation equations are x1 is equal to a11 dash x1 dash plus a12 dash x2 dash plus a13 dash x3 dash, x2 is equal to a21 dash x1 dash plus a22 dash x2 dash plus a23 dash x3 dash, x3 is equal to a31 dash x1 dash plus a32 dash x2 dash plus a33 dash x3 dash. The direction cosines a11 dash comma a12 dash comma etc. are defined as given in equation 2. Now let us summarize this session. A frame of reference is a system of coordinate axes which defines the position of a particle or event in space. A frame of reference in which Newton's first law holds good is called inertial frame of reference or Galilean frame of reference. The frames of reference in which Newton's first and second laws do not hold good are called non-inertial frames of reference. Fixed stars are examples of inertial frames of reference. Inertial frames are non-accelerating frames. All the accelerated and rotating frames are examples of non-inertial frames of reference. The transformation from one coordinate system to another is called coordinate transformation. Now try to solve the given questions. First one, Derive Galilean transformation equations. Second one, derive the transformation equations for inertial frames inclined to each other with origins coinciding. Third one, show that acceleration is invariant under Galilean transformation. Fourth one, explain coordinate transformation with a reference frame. Fifth one, explain Cartesian coordinate system. Here are some books for your reference. First one, General Covariance and the Foundations of General Relativity by John D. Norton, 1993. Second one, Special Relativity by Domenico Giulini, 2005. Third one, The Theory of Relativity by C. Moller, 1976. Fourth one, Special Relativity by N.M.J. Woodhouse, 2003. Thank you for watching this session. See you next time. Until then, bye.